You put a lot of people in the back burner.
Yeah.
But until you don't get your stuff rocking right, and your glass is pouring in a sense, you really can't bless anybody else. I'll tell them, hey, you have like a few boxes up here in the attic. I don't want you to forget them. You want me to bring them down for you? And they're like, oh yeah. And they'll reach out to their realtor and be like, hey man, this home inspector just brought down some boxes out my attic. These guys are awesome. And that's really what I try, that would be memorable.
Welcome to the 200% Life podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Gomez. This is officially season 3, and we're excited. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, like, binge watch season 1, season 2. Lots of great information on business, entrepreneurship. And today's episode is actually, I'm very excited about this one. I'm very excited about this one because I got a very special guest. And I've known this gentleman for a very long time. And I'm proud to call him one of our colleagues and great preferred, business partners in our business for real estate. And he's got a great story, which hopefully we can dig a little bit deep into today. But I welcome to the show, Alberto Cruz, entrepreneur, owner of GoPro Home Inspections here in Orlando, Florida. And but welcome.
Thank you, Jeremy, and I appreciate you having me on today.
Absolutely. We're gonna make this fun. I want to just, our goal today is just to kind of share your story and hopefully inspire some of our entrepreneurs that are listening to us. Business people, and kind of go from there. But let's start with, who is Alberto Cruz? You're obviously an immigrant.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how you got to the United States.
Well, I was born here, actually. Born and raised here in Hialeah.
There you go.
Miami-Dade County.
Yeah.
And my parents came from Cuba back in the 80s during the Homeowners boat lift.
Yeah.
My mom was 10 years old. My dad was 16 when they got here to the U.S. And I've been in Orlando since 2008. I'm a Florida boy, from South Florida, or say like the dirty South Miami, to South Florida. I was raised in a place called Live Oak, Suwannee County.
Oh, Live Oak.
Yep. So that's very, very in the woods. And then I moved to Orlando in 2008, and I graduated in Colonial High School here.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Class of what?
2009.
2009. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's great. So so that's kind of like how you started. Right after high school, you were also a veteran, correct?
Yep. So coming out of high school, I wanted to get into criminal justice, be a police officer. But you couldn't be a police officer until 21. And I went into Kaiser University off of Lake Underhill.
Yeah.
And I met a gentleman there. He was in the Army, and he talked to me about how you can join the military and go reserves or National Guard.
Yeah.
Live in Florida, still do your missions, do your training, but then you'll work full time in your state. So I went into security at first. Then I went into corrections. Then I got my home inspection license at the same time I was doing corrections until I got busier doing home inspections. Then I had to make a choice, rather kind of like a fight or flight kind of thing, So I took the leap, and went full time on home inspections. And
what year was that?
This was 2014.
Oh, 14. Oh, wow. So 10-year anniversary this year.
This year will be a 10-year anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes, sir.
So, and that was your first time being a business owner?
First time being a business owner.
Gotcha.
My first business ever opened up.
So tell me a little bit about how that looked like, your first entrepreneurship journey. So open up was it GoPro always?
Always GoPro.
Okay, GoPro Home Inspections. So in 2014, how was that like starting your own business? Tell me about the first, 6 months.
Well, I'll tell you, first thing I could remember was coming up with the name. I was in Afghanistan at the time, and my brother and my wife got into real estate. So my brother became a realtor, was doing that maybe for like a year or two. Then my wife got into real estate in his brokerage. He ended up opening his small brokerage, and my wife worked under his brokerage. Yeah. And when I got back from Afghanistan in 2014, in February, they kind of had the idea, why don't you, be a home inspector? Yeah. And while I was in Afghanistan, all my guys, all of us had GoPros on our helmets whenever we go out. Yeah. Whenever we'd go out to missions. Yeah. And I guess from seeing GoPros all the time, it just came GoPro Home Inspections.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got it. I always thought about like Go Professional, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Go Professional. Don't leave it to the amateurs, right?
Exactly. Leave it to the pros.
Leave it to the pros.
Yes, sir.
And so, was it a one man show?
At first, yep. Definitely was a one man show from the beginning. I would get off working in the prison, and I would have missed calls, and I would call back those missed calls, and it'd be potential clients or realtors trying to get an estimate or look at for availability, and sometimes I would miss the calls, or they had already reached out to another inspector. So I was like,
got it.
So I have to figure out either stay in the prison and make this a full-time career, or B, I figured the prison was always going to be there. So I said, I'm gonna try this out. Worst case scenario, I go back or go another field of law enforcement. But luckily, it really has been good. First 6 months was definitely difficult to kind of get the ball rolling. Having my foot in the door with my wife and my brother there obviously helped as far as getting recommendations. Like, I recommend my brother,
of course.
So that kind of got my foot in the door to get experience and to do what I do. I got my licensing through IFREC. Down in Winter Park. And back then, I don't know what it costs now, but it was about $4,000. And I remember coming back from Afghanistan, I bought my wife a car. A little Toyota Camry, cost like $11,000-$12,000, and I bought me a Nissan Titan truck. I bought that cash, so it was like $8,000 or $9,000. And when you come back from Afghanistan, you probably have like $30,000 put away. You think you're a millionaire in a sense, but you never see that much money together.
Yeah, of course.
But bought the 2 cars, went on vacation, and money was pretty much gone. And I was like, I gotta do something. Put it towards some kind of license or certification, and put it towards that IFREC course, man. And and my instructor, shout out to Bill Smith, if he watches this or not. Always a Marine, all right, hoorah. So he took me under his wing for my first 2 inspections, kind of taught me the ropes as to what I have to look for, or the process itself. And then from there, I've improved it and kind of made it my own, and to the point where I've trained probably around 12 inspectors, fired, hired.
Yeah, of course.
But now we're a group of 5, and hopefully, we can continue there and grow from there.
No, got you.
Yes, sir.
So for 6 months, you were kind of doing it part-time. So when was that turning point when you actually turned it into full-time? How long from when you opened? Was it a year?
I would say it was definitely a year.
A year.
It was a year and a half that I can remember that I had my license. And in the prison, the schedules is you work 2 days, you have 3 days off. Then you work 3 days, you have 2 days off. And as far as getting busy, man, I've had a lot of inspectors reach out to me that got their license new, and I always tell them, the first thing you have to do is get your name out there and let people know who you are and what you do. I know in real estate, people say, secret agents don't make money. Secret agents don't make money. And I'll tell you, free inspections is probably the best way to go about, getting work. Because you could show what your work is, and trust me, whenever you do a good job for somebody, you'll have 2 more jobs in the future that come towards you.
Your niche at first was actually giving a free inspection.
Free inspection
to get your foot through the door.
Get foot through the door.
With the top producers and stuff like that?
Yep. Anybody and everybody. If you have an inspection, I probably did a good 10 to 15 free inspections.
Just to get your foot through the door.
Just to get the foot through the door.
So you guys are listening to this, right? That's a great marketing tool. Like when, kind of fake it till you make it. But when you first start out and you're trying to get the attention of somebody, I mean, you hear it first. You might have to give your service at no cost to try to get your foot through the door, which is genius. Especially if you're dealing with like top producers, because obviously if they have their preferred, home inspector at that point, just kind of do it. So it's a great business. That's a great business advice. Whoever's listening, I mean, that's sometimes you got to give up something to try to get in there. You know what I mean? And so the first year, how many inspections were you doing a month?
My first year, I probably did about 60 inspections.
60 inspections. So about 12 a month, something like that.
Yes.
Gotcha. So with a point that you said, I'm doing this full time, how much did you jump up from like 60 inspections that first year? That second year, how much did you go up?
My second year in inspections, I believe we did around 250. And then every year after that, I've doubled or tripled my numbers every year after.
Gotcha.
Last year, we did a little over 2,000.
Wow.
I think our record is like 2,600.
2,600 inspections.
In a year, yeah.
Okay, so that's the power of actually just making like that decision. It's very important. It's always that decision. You got to roll the dice, right?
Yes, sir.
And when did you start hiring? At what point?
I would say 3 years going. 3 years in is when I got so busy, and even to the point where I was handling everything myself, to where I was answering the phones, doing the inspections, doing the meetings, sales meetings, group meetings, networking,
everything.
Pretty much everything. And I think at my 3-year mark, first thing I did was hire an admin. And then I was like, why did I not do this sooner?
Yeah, you double your work.
Because just not being able to, while I'm in an attic, have to, try to answer a phone or give me 1 second and call you right back or something like that. Just having an admin there really was worth all the money. All the money.
So delegation is very important then.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely delegation to let people kind of take the responsibilities off yourself little by little.
Definitely, if you're doubling your production after deciding to go full time, I mean, it was totally worth it.
Yes, sir.
And then so 3 years in, you got your first couple of inspectors.
Yes, sir.
And are any of them with you still now?
The inspector that's been with me the longest is 3 years in.
3 years in.
3 years in.
3 years in. But started also from scratch. He didn't know anything about
Started from scratch.
So not you're the one who was training him.
Exactly. And all my inspectors, pretty much, I've trained them since the beginning.
Yeah.
Put them through class or the courses most of the time, and then have them until they're good.
What is in those first 3 years that you were by yourself? What would you have done different? And besides hiring somebody that you just mentioned, but
exactly, I would say what I would do different. For one, knowledge is power. A lot of things that I kind of encountered was through experience. Made a mistake and then trial and error. Exactly, trial and error. Yeah. Where to having a mentor, I just recently got a mentor.
Oh, really?
10 years in the game, I got a mentor, and I'll tell you that in the first 15 minutes, he already knew exactly what I needed and what my mistakes were and where I had to go, even after 10 years, and my mentor's been in for 20, 30 years. So you never stop learning, you never stop learning, and there's always,
and
something.
It's a business coach? Or
business coach.
Oh, he's a business coach. Not specifically home inspections, just business in general.
Specifically home inspections. Specifically home inspections, and he has 10 inspectors in Texas. So he's out of my state, so he's not like competition. And definitely, as putting in work. So hopefully we can come in 2024 a little stronger.
Gotcha. So coach is very important.
Yep. Coaches, mentors definitely is one thing I didn't have going into the business in the beginning that I wish I probably would have had now, looking at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think for all the listeners out there or viewers, I myself have some as well. So you can never be the smartest person in the room. You're in the wrong room if you are. And you said it best. I think now, just a coach is going to be able to understand if they're expert enough to know what you got to do different. As far as being a leader, it's always tough, right? It's always tough being a leader. You're leading now, you said about 5 inspectors plus your admin. What are the things, and you told me that in your meetings, we just had a little conversation about what your meetings look like, but how important it is to lead that team, or what are those things that you think you have to do on a daily basis to be able to keep your team motivated?
I'll tell you, I'm not the best at it. I definitely can improve in what is, as far as team building, I'm not into micromanaging at all. And I don't know if that's a gift or a curse. My guys definitely tell me that it's a gift. I don't bother them unless I have to bother them. And whenever new things come out, I quickly get a course together and then put in the new, any new SOPs or anything new that comes out as far as technology and stuff going into homes. Or if there's a different procedure that I made a mistake here, let's go around it this way now moving forward. Then I'll have that group meeting. And that's probably once every 2-3 months. Okay. I have a group meeting. But other than that, my guys wake up in the morning. They know kind of where they have to go. They know what they have to do. Yeah. They know they have to send the report within 24 hours. And if there's any questions relating to to the report, we could always reach out to them and get a good explanation. No,
that's good. And I know on my home inspections, I've always found that I couldn't have the patience for it. I don't have the patience for it. Go looking at every single aspect of a house. How tough is that? I couldn't do it. I don't have the patience. Yeah. I'll probably give up after the first 10 minutes. I'll forget this.
I'll tell you, we all have our talents and our gifts. I'm sure there's a ton of things that you do that I couldn't do. But homes, I'll do it. Home inspection, I'll do it for free on a Sunday. That's how much I love what I do. Yeah. I look at homes from the outside in. So looking at it from the grade and elevation, to then what is the house built out of, what shape it's, how is it built, then what are the materials inside the house, that's talking about plumbing, electric, what year is the AC, going into the attic spaces, look at the insulation, the air ducts, ventilation, the electrical stuff that's in the attic as well. Into the house, we look for anything and everything that is not like new condition. So that's really is the big debate, between a client or a realtor that says, I don't like this. Can you put this on the report? our question is it in like new condition or is it damaged?
Yeah.
If it's in like in condition, but it's green, I mean, I can't put it on the report just because you don't like it because it's green.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's damaged, then definitely it'll be on the report. So that's really the big
kind of, yeah. And then for us, I mean, all the real estate agents can relate, at least here in Florida, that sometimes the home inspection is actually one of the turning points of a transaction.
I would say not sometimes. I would say probably 99% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I had one just recently. You were in the inspections, it's not my buyer. I had the listing, and goodness sake, I mean, there's some stuff in there. I'm like, why was it even in here? You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you, I think the biggest debate, and I might have to do this one day with a few like realtors or brokers, but should realtors be present at the home inspection? What would you say to?
Well, that's a very good question. So I was going to comment on that. Our regulators, which is the Florida Real Estate Commission, they actually ask you not to be there. They actually not to be there because the liability is huge, right? So I'm a very big believer in any type of business, stay in your lane. And I don't have a home inspector's license, but someone like you and your team do. Definitely. So there's no business me being there because I shouldn't be commenting on something that I'm not, versed on. Yes, and actually it's a liability for me. If I were to say something on that home inspection appointment that is as simple as, the buyer can ask me, should I replace this outlet? It looks kind of out of whack. And I say, nah, leave it like that. And then house turns on fire after 3 months of them living there. The first person they're going to point at is probably me because they say, Jeremy told me not to replace it. So that's why I teach my agents not to do that because, you have better things to do. Number one, open the door. And if you got to open the door and that's it. But then step out.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. You shouldn't be, I've seen realtors get on roofs with the home inspector. I was like, what are you doing up there?
That's
you can fall off and break your leg, and then what? And then what's going to happen? Leave it to the pros.
Exactly. Leave it to the pros.
So is that what you? Yeah.
That's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head because I've had every kind of scenario, and I will tell you though, I do have realtors that show up to every inspection and they know how to act. And I think that's the real key. It's definitely know your place, know how to act, know that you're there really for the best interest of your client. Not so much as the best interest for your wallet in a sense, So anything that the inspector says, obviously take it, just note it down. Hey, look, these are the things that we're going to take care of, what I'm going to take towards the sellers that we're going to talk about. I don't see anything wrong with a realtor being there per se, as long as, of course, they know how to act. Yeah. I'll give you a perfect example as to a realtor that doesn't know how to act. Right? So if I were to, for example, doing a home inspection, and the house has an FPE panel, that's famous Federal Pacific Electric.
Federal Pacific, yeah.
So that panel, they came out between the 60s and 70s, right? Towards the later 70s. Those panels are always a problem when it comes to insurance.
Yep.
Right? But that day, the realtor was like, the house is from 76. It's been here since then, and it hasn't caught fire since then. Right? Those were the exact words from the guy. Those were his exact words. So, in my report, obviously, it says, panel needs to be evaluated, replaced by a licensed contractor. Cool. Comes to the day of closing, they didn't do the reports as far as sending the WIMIT and the 4-point in a timely fashion. They kind of waited, I guess, towards the end to send it. And as soon as they sent it, the insurance company came back, with the red flags showing that the FPE panel had to be replaced in order to have insurance or in order to even close. So who paid for the new panel?
Realtor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You get into a very tough position. Exactly. Stay in your lane. I'm telling you.
Definitely stay in your lane. I would say in a perfect world, definitely realtors be there maybe to open up the door.
That's it.
Maybe knock out a little marketing. I'll definitely see that where, realtors will say inspection day and just kind of do a quick video. Anything that kind of shows that you're relevant. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, definitely stay in the lane.
I love it. Now, this is one topic I do want to talk to you because I think you're really, really good at it. So, and again, you're kind of like the face of the company, which is really good, Okay. And we're talking about delegation. I'm sure at one point in time when you're big and famous, you'll have somebody else do it. But I think you're really, really great at when it comes to building relationships and the marketing sense of it. So kind of like relationship marketing, that's what I like to call it. I think you're really, really good at that. So basically, guys, if you're not in Central Florida in the real estate world, and I'm sure a lot of people that are in our area are watching this, but if you're not, Alberto's really good about making relationships and marketing. So we see him in every single event. He's a sponsor. We always, he never turns us down for something there. And obviously it's a reciprocal relationship, right? We have to make sure that one's there. But give us your thoughts on that. Like, why is it that's important in a business?
Oh, definitely. I believe in the golden rule, man. You give, you receive.
That's it.
And that's just about it. I believe so heartily in what you do. Just like I have, shout out to Aaron Luden with Orlando Real Producers.
Yeah, good friend of ours, yeah.
All right. So he does things for the realtors, just like you do, events, this, that, whatever. And I'm all for it. At the end of the day, well, our bread and butter are also realtors, and the one that's out there wasting that time, money, gas, those hard nights, those crazy emails talking about. I've seen them. I've seen the what is the conditions? When you get those conditions, to close probably a week before closing, and you got to ruffle around. I know all those things, so I appreciate realtors, and we honestly say we love realtors, and anything that we could do to help. Just give us a shout. Worst thing we could say is no, we can't do it at that time. But if we can, I promise you we will.
No, absolutely. So, but it's really good. I mean, and it's really about getting out there for your business. Yes. I mean, literally, we were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, your December was crazy. You were like in how many events? I think you were.
December, I was working in the day and then events at night.
At least, I mean, I think I saw you like 20 events at least.
Yes, sir.
But it was important.
Definitely. And at the end of the year, every team has a holiday. Has a holiday get together with their team, if not with their brokerage or whatnot, and they always reach out, and we'll be part of it if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was very, very important. So, but I've always seen you just making those relationships always top of mind, and even with our guys here, everybody knows Alberto is a home inspector to go to because you're always present and everything. So we really appreciate that, and that's a great lesson I think to every entrepreneur is. I don't think you should cut corners on even that. Even if you don't have the money to actually sponsor things, just tell them, I'll buy you a plate of sandwiches. I'll buy you a thing of donuts. I'll be there to speak. I'll give maybe even knowledge because I think you even do some great classes that you're giving knowledge out there. Whatever you can. I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So give out knowledge. Give out whatever is very valuable to that industry there. But you've identified who your key client is, which is the realtors. Definitely.
And realtors that honestly have the best interest for their clients. I will tell you that. And I have the best interest for my realtors as well. I want to show up, make you look good. I want to send that report, make you look good. I want you to negotiate the hell of that contract and make you look good. The day of closing, I want you to look good. And if I could send a thank you, a gift card or something, whenever I have those special clients, those special times, I will do that as well to make you guys look amazing.
That's it. Identify your client base and make them look good.
Exactly.
I think that's where it's at. Always making sure that whoever you're servicing are treating them like rock stars. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's where it is. Now, before we finish, I did want to just ask you a question. So obviously, we have a lot of, my wife does a lot of the women entrepreneurs and stuff like that. So I do a lot of the male entrepreneurs.
All right.
Okay. And I have had a few. I had Amanda Douglas from Celebration Title here last season, cool. And she did really good. But what is one thing or one advice or one struggle that and the advice to follow of a male entrepreneur in today's business world?
All right. Well, as a guy doing business in today's world, for one, you have to be focused, right? Yeah. Definitely take out anything other than your business out of your mind. And insanely because, you put a lot of people in the back burner. Yeah. But until you don't get your stuff rocking right, and your glass is pouring in a sense, you really can't bless anybody else. Mm-hmm. So I would say, definitely focus on what you're trying to create it, follow through. And then once your cup is overflowing, then take time and handle everything else that you need to handle. But at times people will tell you, hey man, why aren't you coming around like you used to come around? Yeah. Or even, the missus might be like, I feel a little insignificant because, you're working, 9 to 6, you go home, you do reports and, it's long hours, and some people could be in a sense thrown to the side unintentionally, but the focus has to be on what you're trying to create. And trust me, once you create it, then you're like, all right, now I can take the vacations I want to take. I can do the things I want to do, go to places I want to go, and also bless even those families, those friends that you're trying to help out. I've had cousins of mine, start small businesses based off of my business in a sense.
I remember. Yeah.
And so yeah, it's definitely for guys out there, man, keep your head up, and there's a brighter day after every rainstorm.
That's it. That's it. So I'm glad. I mean, your story's amazing. I mean, you've had tremendous growth throughout the years. I mean, I've seen it from when we were, started working together.
You're not lying, man. 10 years ago, I remember G-World.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's been a while. It's been a minute. I mean, we've both grown totally. I mean, I'm very, very happy to see. And then when you told me your number that you did last year in inspections, I was blown away. I mean, that's a lot of inspections.
Thank you.
That's got to be definitely out there. But I know it's because of the relationships that you build out there. I think to me, that's one of the main reasons. Obviously, good service and quality reports and making your realtors, look like rock stars. Mm-hmm. But just building new relationships every day. Yes, just to know as many people. And I mean, everywhere we go, we see GoPro. So I mean, that's something big to say. You know what I mean?
You're not lying. And on the field itself, if you're out on the field, we're friendly insanely, because you see a lot of home inspectors going to houses like they're the police in a sense. We're definitely service orientated. We're friendly. We'll crack a joke as we're doing a walkthrough. We're very personable, and we want to be memorable. I tell my guys, always try to think of that thing that'll give somebody that warm and fuzzy feeling. Rather it is, because I give them all my guys leaf blowers, for example. So right before the inspection starts, let's say there's leaves in the driveway, in the walkway, just leaf blower that out before you take your pictures. Those little things really go a long way. And trust me, when that realtor, if she was there seeing you do it, they'd be like, man, look, my client is going to show up and the house is going to look better. There's not a time where I'll go out, where the pool is. If I see there's a net, I'll do a quick cleaning of the pool so that way I can take my pictures. Good, so that way everything looks nice,
That's attention to detail.
I have these vacuums, that are handheld. We make sure we go into the attic spaces. If we leave insulation, we vacuum that up. Always leave a house better than you found it. And we even help the sellers sometimes. I'll tell them, hey, you have like a few boxes up here in the attic. I don't want you to forget them. You want me to bring them down for you? And they're like, oh yeah. And they'll reach out to their realtor and be like, hey man, this home inspector just brought down some boxes out my attic. These guys are awesome. And that's really what I try. That would be memorable. There's a difference when you go to like a doctor and he's like, oh, you have this and this, and here's your prescription. Have a good day. But then you go to a doctor, it's like, hey, tell me about your day. You run, are you exercising? What's your diet look like? Personable. All right, so I can see if you do this change in your diet, you may work out a little bit and you take these prescriptions. Now you got to remember that doctor.
Of course. So
the same thing. We'll do a walkthrough at the end of every inspection. I had a house the other day, 1.8 million. And the inspection took 4 hours. And it was 3 guys.
That was the one with the cars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I saw the video,
The one with the McLarens.
the McLarens.
And we did a full walkthrough, and the seller was there, and she told us, I've bought and sold plenty of houses, and I've never had an inspector do a final walkthrough. And I was like, and I told her, it's very uncommon. That is true. But I promise that if you contact us when you buy your next house, I'm going to give you a final walkthrough as well.
There you go. The referral seat.
Exactly.
Always assume the close. I love
exactly.
it.
So I'm sorry that in the past, inspectors haven't walked you through the house, showed you where your water heater is, showed you where your main electric shutoff is, tell you where your air filter is, the maintenance on your AC. We'll go room by room. It's pretty much like the same narrative. I'm like, there's no issues with your floors, walls, ceilings. You have your smoke detector. I checked out your outlets. All your doors open and close correctly. Your windows open and close correctly. No issues or concerns in this room. And we'll go to the next room. And I just do that every room. And if there's issues, I'll talk about it and where I think it's coming from, this and that. But at the end, I'll ask the client, do you have any questions at all? And they're like, no, what can I ask? You went over everything. And we're definitely motivators of a sale, We're not salespeople by no means, but very factual. If it's not factual pertaining to the condition of the home, we're not there trying to give our opinion. The most popular question that sellers, and I'll tell you this is why, you have to know who you're referring out there to be your home inspector. Because every client of yours will ask that home inspector, would you buy this house?
Yeah.
All right. And if your home inspector, doesn't know how to answer this question, then you probably won't close the deal this year at all.
Yep.
And our answer will always be, we cannot tell you that. Why? Because there's not enough information for me to give you that answer. I don't know what this house is worth. I don't know what the houses in the areas are going for. I don't know what you're purchasing the house for. I don't know what your bank account looks like. There's a lot of questions I don't know. Yeah. But what I can tell you is the roof was changed in 2018. The AC's from 2020. Actually. Your electrical is up to date. No aluminum wiring. No hazards at all. And your roof and your AC's from 2020. The 4 principal things, and your structure is solid. Anything and everything else is all to your taste. Putting the house how you like it. Yeah. God bless and have a great day. Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's it.
That's how we finish that conversation. Yeah. And they're typically like, wow, yep, I'm going to get on the phone with my realtor as soon as possible.
I love it. And like you said, there's a lot of inspectors out there that are...
They will give their opinion. They'll say, I wouldn't buy a wood frame house. Things like that. Where it's like...
of course not. But it's like... Their thing to do. Or just like they act like they're the police. And unfortunately, that is not good business for anybody. That's not good business. That's why we keep on coming to you, because obviously it's all about facts, right? It's about facts. We're about price and bedrooms, locations, whatever, but it's about facts in your case, roof, AC, sewer, whatever. And that's really what you're there to hire for, stay in your lane, and we really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
To this day, I don't think there's one inspection recently or in the last 2-3 years that, we every single transaction you're involved in gets closed. So it's never due to an inspection, which is awesome. Which is great, so we've never had an issue. But other than that, I think, just looking back in, that detail of making a personalized experience for a client just goes a long way. I think if you create an experience, which you just talked about in your industry, how you created experience, I think that's what it's all about. That's what's going to repeat business and make things happen. And that's how your business keeps growing.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, Alberto, thank you so much for joining us. I think we picked up some really good gems. Amen. And again, if you're in the Orlando area, go Crow Home Inspections for your next home inspection. Reach out to him. He's over social media. His videos on Instagram are really cool too. You got some good music on it.
Thank you.
So definitely reach out to him for any home inspection needs here in the Central Florida area. So guys, thank you so much for joining us on the 200% Life podcast. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, like on any of our channels, and we'll see you the next time. Take care. 200%.
Thank you.